Good morning, good morning, good morning, B. How's it going?
Good morning, Mama. How you doing today? It's going great.
I'm I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I just sent you the Instagram, so y'all know how we have to do it.
It's already
Thank you.
good and ready to go.
All right, check us out. Check us out, right? Oh, shoot for Brandon. I'm doing that for Brandon. Y'all look at him.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Mama. I haven't even sipped my. I've had my coffee sitting right here. I haven't sipped it yet. Trying to make sure everything was prepared, but I got it.
I got mine too. Like that cup, man. Like that cup.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All
Mm.
right, let's walk
Well,
into it.
no,
How
we
was your
got a
day?
sip. What'd you say?
How was your day yesterday?
It was good. It was good. Thanks to you. I got some. We got some time. Some mommy and daddy time to keep the grandbabies. So we had a lot going on. Had a flat tire. Had to get that worked out, but that's what tires do, right?
That's what tires
Um,
do, right?
what else we do? That's what tires do. We got some things done around the house. Made some good plans. Set up things for this week. So I had a good day. Had a good day.
Good.
Moved my. You don't hear my chicks in here. So we moved the chicks from inside to outside.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a transition for them and for me because I was worried, but they're
Yeah.
doing good. We put chicken wire around them and everything. So we got the chicks outside. Spent their first night outside. So I'll be checking on them after the show.
How long has it been? How long have you had them inside?
We've had them inside for about 3.5 weeks.
Oh wow, it's been that long.
Yeah, about 3.5 weeks.
Man, time flies, y'all. Time flies. It doesn't wait on us, right? So chicks go outside, right? Tires go flat.
Yep,
Chicks
and I
go
think that the
outside.
chicks are about yeah they're about 5 weeks old I think now
Okay.
total,
Okay.
maybe even more. I mean they're 4 or 5 weeks old about, and so they've been here 3 or 4 weeks sleeping back here with me in the back room. So
Mhm.
I've been daddy bird for a while, but now I'm
Wonderful.
making my transition to an empty nester.
And there are things that go with that as well, right?
Right,
So, good
right.
morning, everyone. On my end, Brenda Davis, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday, she says. Brother Mike says, good morning, everyone. He also says he's up early. He got some more clients. Way to go, Big Mike.
Good
Way to
job, Big
do it.
Mike.
Way to
Great
do
job.
it. He's turning his story into his, I guess, some glory, right? Because he's using his story to teach others how to do what he did, the accomplishments that he's made. Now the Brown says tires go flat. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Um, and that's not a shock. He says re chickens about the chickens. So good morning, y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with us. Big Mike, good luck this morning when you meet with your client. He says one of them is a family member, and it's nothing like family supporting you and truly
Mm.
supporting you. So good luck on that, and y'all keep rocking with us. Y'all gonna see more just open up in your life. I mean, 175 pounds is what he's lost, you guys. Oh no, I'm sorry. Nelda Brown says 175 pounds equals medium Mike. Oh,
Nah,
KL is talking about your mic equals medium mic.
we
So
used to
yeah,
call him
way to
Big
go,
Mike,
y'all.
Little
Way to
Mike,
go.
now medium Mike.
Little mic now. Now medium mic. So all right, y'all. It's a beautiful Monday morning. I feel rested. Boy, I needed some rest. I didn't know how tired I was. It's like the lady said about windows. She said I didn't know I had a problem until I fixed it. Right. So I got some rest. Even though I had the grandbabies, it was a different kind of rest because I had not seen, well, not had them for about 2.5 weeks. And
Has it been that
that's
long?
it's been, yeah, maybe even three, because other grandma was here since I had them. I've seen them for sure, but
Oh,
it's been
all
a
right.
long time since I went that long without seeing them. And y'all, I got to share two things because Brandon, one thing I did not share with you, I did share about the assessment. My 3-year old Tupac, y'all, told me yesterday. He came right in the house, and I had candy in a box because of the event Saturday. And he says, "Grandma, I'm assessing your candy." Y'all hear what I said? I'm assessing your candy. But one thing I didn't tell you, Brandon, on the way in, Tupac was like, I can't wait to get to see the train. I want to see the train. And the man driving the train, that's what he said. Zolly says, well, it might be a woman driving the train.
Three and
Yeah,
five. I'm
3 and
telling
5. I mean, I'm like, I'm just listen to their conversations. Man, y'all, it's so it will. They make me laugh, right? And so we talked about that, right? Well, we talked about that. So they make me laugh because they're so funny. They are so funny. Like they see life. Zolly had an old balloon of mine for my birthday that was pretty flat. Y'all, she played with that balloon like she had 50 balloons with all air in it. I mean, she was making songs out of just patting the balloon, and she was running around. And I was like, look how joyful she is with what we would see as trash. Because she was playing with it, so I clipped it off and gave it to her, right? And just a man, it was just beautiful. So they just helped me. They helped me in so many ways. I feel like they add years to my life, even when I feel like I don't have anything to give, because they keep me laughing. They do and say the funniest things. So to even like hear the 3-year-old say that was close because he was hiding from mommy and daddy. He thought I told him they're outside waiting for you, and he hid. And I said, they're not out there. And he goes, oh, that was close. So, you know, get your grandkids, grandmas, keep them. And children, let the grandparents keep them
I was about to say, let them go. Put them chicks outside
with their grandma. Huh?
with their grandma, with Mama Hen, Grandma
Oh,
Hen.
Alexis is on. Hi, Alexis.
Oh, baby girl.
MacEdie Davis. So, Alexis, did you get married? I see MacEdie Davis. Hmm. Oh, wow. We need to catch up, man. Oh, thank you. Good morning. Good morning. All right, Brandon, let's jump into it.
All right. Well, sounds like we got some new people in the house tonight. So thank y'all for joining us, and thank you to the people that have been rocking with us since we started this thing, or jumped on the train along the way. We appreciate you, and we're all on this journey to success together. So how are we doing that? We have been doing that by reading through Dennis Kimbro's Daily Motivations for African American Success. For the people that haven't been here, the End This Season podcast. Welcome, first off, to the End This Season podcast. But it started off as as a podcast and a conversation acknowledging and recognizing Black History Month in February. But we knew we could not um, just keep Black History Month and our encouragement throughout about Black history and in Black lives. We could not keep that just to 1 month. So we decided to continue this all year round. And so, with Daily Motivations for African American Success by Dennis Kimbro, here's the book. If you guys can see it, that's how it looks. Please be sure to go on Amazon or wherever all your books are sold and get this book. Follow along with us. Read every passage with us every single day. We're here 7 a.m. in the morning reading Daily Motivations for African American Success. If you are not African American, that does not mean that you can't get a plate at the cookout and that you can't learn these very human things. Just know that this very human subject of encouragement, affirmations, success, and motivations to get towards success is a very human thing, but being told in this case through the lens and through the story of the African American history and through our cultural experience. So please make it a teachable moment, and you'll learn even more. I think about you'll learn a lot about African Americans, but I think you'll learn even more about yourself and your own humanity. So thank y'all for rocking with us on that. But Daily Motivations for African American Success will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Edelman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year. What it teaches will last you a lifetime. So that's a little bit about the book from the back of the book. Um, Again, get the book. It's full of witticisms, meditations, and thoughts to ponder, inspire, teach, and dream. And Dennis Kimbro said that every thought which enters our mind, every word we utter, and every deed that we perform makes its impression on the innermost fiber of our being. So let's start today by making an impression of success, making it normal to us to put ourselves in position for success, to plan for success, so that we're not inevitably planning to fail if we are not planning for success. Success doesn't just happen in many cases by accident. There's intentionality behind it. There's determination behind it. There is perseverance behind this. All right.
All
So welcome
right.
everybody.
Let's do this. Day, what is it, Brandon?
110.
All right. You looked.
Huh?
I said you looked.
Oh yeah, I did for sure. I did. I thought you was asking. This is one of those questions that I got the answer to,
Okay.
and it's just on the screen. So yeah, 110. I act like I didn't know, but no, because yesterday I said 109, but you know how my mind is. I get hit in the head a lot, yo. I'm a fighter.
All
So,
right.
want to jump into it?
Let's jump into it.
All right. So today's February, May 20th. I told y'all. I told you. May 20th. The title for today in Daily Motivations for African American Success, that I know y'all got this book, right? The title is Open for Business. Open for Business. That title flashing across your screen right there. And the quote we got today comes from William Raspberry, a syndicated columnist, who said, "The haves and the have-nots can often be traced to the dids and the didn't do's." The haves and the have-nots can often be traced to the dids and didn't do's.
Hmm.
So the passage goes as follows. In the final analysis, each of us in each of us is in business for ourselves. That is, each of us is the president of his or her own corporation. As you assume this office, you alone are responsible for your firm's success or failure. A parable illustrates this notion well. A businessman on a crowded city street dropped $1 in the cup of a man selling pencils as he hurriedly stepped aboard a train bound for his office. However, on second thought, he backed off the train, walked over to the beggar, and took several pencils from the cup. Apologetically, he explained that in his haste he had neglected to pick up his pencils and hoped the man wouldn't be upset. "After all," he said, "you're a businessman just like myself. You have merchandise to sell and it's fairly priced." Then he caught the next train. At a civic function a few months later, a neatly dressed salesman stepped up to the same businessman and introduced himself. "You probably don't remember me, and I don't know your name, but I'll never forget you. You are the man who gave me back my self-respect. I was a beggar selling pencils until you came along and told me I was a businessman, that I was responsible for my future. And for that, I thank you." A wise man once said, "Many people have gone further than they thought they could because someone else thought they could." The most you can do for anyone is to reveal his own wealth to him. The most you can do for anyone is to reveal his own wealth to him. And the affirmation that we read 3 times, one for me, one for you, and one for the new person that you sent this to, is everything I do prospers. I'm in business to stay in business.
Mm.
Everything I do prospers. I'm in business to stay in business. And last time, everything I do prospers. I'm in business to stay in business. And that's the passage. What you got for me, Mama? What you think about that?
I got a few questions for
Oh,
us. One, the first, have you opened your business, and is it open for business? Does that make sense? Have you opened your business, and is it open for business? Because there's two different things. This one's good for me today. This one's really good for me as I try to juggle life with a business of my own, and working for someone. And often I find myself really contemplating about who gets the most.
mm. Of you?
Yes.
Mm.
Does my business, or not the most, but do I see them the same, right? Does someone need to come up to me and remind me that I'm a business owner myself,
Mm. Mm.
right? So because often, and we were talking about this last night, remember about, having a business.
Mm-hmm. At the table.
We were talking about this last night, over dinner. It came up in a different way, but I talked about how, my grandfather just started businesses, right? He did his thing. I don't ever recall my grandfather working for someone else. And I would sit with my granddad at night as he balanced the big long ledger. Back then, you guys, they had these big long ledgers, right? That everything kind of went in. And so he would sit me there. We would come home from the store, and he would balance those books every night. Every
Mm.
night. My granddaddy had a routine. He woke up every morning at the same time. I would hear him getting dressed before the sun would come up, right? It was dark. I would hear him get dressed. He would get up, go do his thing, come back, pick my grandmother and I up, drop my grandmother off at the store, get it opened, take me to school, drop me off, go back to work, come pick me up, take me back to the store with my grandmother, and go do the rest of his day. And then come back and work the rest of the day at the store. We would go home. I would get my shower because they would feed me at the store. We had a little kitchen and all of that. And so he had a routine. He had a routine. And out of one business, he was able to start another business. And in a time where wasn't many black homeowners, my granddad had two three businesses, kind of the store, two homes. I never personally never saw him work for anybody. So his business was open. He opened it, and it was opened for business, but he was open as well. He knew what he wanted. And I'm assuming since he knew what he wanted, he knew what he didn't want. He didn't want to be an employee, right? He wanted to employ people. And from that, I saw my dad worked a little bit in the business, and my dad did his own thing 9 to 5, and still does. My dad's been working started working before I was born, and he's still at the same place saying, I'm going to retire every year. We hear that. By the way, y'all, happy birthday to my dad. My dad's birthday is today.
Oh, it's Granddad's
So,
birthday today?
yes, yes, he's 18. So, yeah,
18.
but imagine how long he said retire for what now? He'll say that now, but then he'll come back and say, I'm going to do it soon. Then soon doesn't happen.
And you know how he
But
said, he was like, oh, well, I'll retire whenever. What am I doing
yeah,
now
yeah,
for?
yeah,
It
yeah.
kind of
What am I
grunt,
going to
it
do?
kind of
What am I going to do it? Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
So,
growls it.
yeah. So, but he did help my granddaddy a bit here and there. And I had a cousin who was able to dip and dab in the business as well, from something he started out of a need, other people's need, trash. right? They would have to bring it all up. So another important thing here is what so the businessman spoke into. This was a homeless guy, right?
Hmm. I think so, or
Imagine,
beggar in some way.
right? Well, maybe, yeah, beggar, maybe just in need, and he was selling pencils, right? Think about that. Think about that. Pencils. How many of us would feel some kind of way? Because he could have just been out there begging for $1. Wonder where he
Right.
got the pencils from, you know? And so, but instead, hey, what can I sell? And apparently there is a need because there was a businessman who went back, put $1 in for some of those pencils. So if you don't have a business, you have a business. You've just not birthed it. I think there's a business in all of us. My brother is starting a business because he took the time to say, listen, I need to change my life. And in that came work. And he knows that there are other people out there that are saying the same thing, but they need encouragement. They need to be encouraged that they can do it, right? So you have a business, but is it open for business? Over to you, Brennan.
Thanks, Mom. I appreciate that. This passage reminds me of one of my maybe not one of my favorite lines in hip hop about entrepreneurship comes from none other than Jay-Z, where he said, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a business man.
Mm,
Let me handle my business, damn."
mm,
Right? So he's saying, I'm not a businessman, like a man of business, but I am a business, basically, right? So, and there was a couple things that I think, upon analysis that he was saying there, he was saying that, I am conducting myself my entire life as if I am a business. Everything that I do, every word, everywhere that I go, everything that I'm a business. But he was also making a reference to like creating a LLC basically out of his name, so that everything that he does, um, he can pretty much file on his taxes. You see what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
So he was really meaning like taking a corporate take name into the corporate space, just his name, and how much that was changing his outcomes, right? So that was interesting to me about this story, as it speaks to everyone as a business in a sense. Specifically where it says the haves and the have-nots can often be traced to the dids and the didn't do. So we're all within that same position, just whether or not we're going to do it. Because oftentimes the people who are the most successful aren't the most talented, aren't the most resourced, aren't the most, they're a combination of all these things. But what they usually have is some type of determination and some type of overarching perspective about themselves and about their life and about the quality of life that they want to live. And to me, I see a quality of life being the difference between an entrepreneur and an employee. And I don't
mm,
and you can be an employee of your business and an entrepreneur of your business. I think there's some people who own their business and there are some people whose businesses own them,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right? To where they're living to work, even if it is their own business, as opposed to working to live, right? And I think there's a difference in the way you approach those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you take things back to like the beginnings of humanity, that we've had hundreds of thousands of years, right? Before we had these houses and electricity and things like that, we literally worked the land in order to survive and to live. And we became so good at providing for ourselves and civilizations and things like that, to where we were able to pursue more leisurely things, right? And then the masses of money have now been concentrated to a fewer and fewer people, and so those people, the rest of the people have started working for those people. But the independence of being a business owner is something that completely transforms and motivates and encourages people, not just themselves individually, but it changes everyone around them and the trajectory of their descendants and their legacy. So, for example, nowadays, people sometimes, and mom, you use this reference a lot, um, you'll make references and metaphors and analogies using the trash man,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're the trash man, be the best trash man, and not down.
Mm-hmm.
You'll say not downplaying the um, the profession of being a trash man at all. And when you say that, I don't think that it's shallow at all. That you're saying that there's no downplay to the trash man, but it's interesting that we still can make those huge distinctions based on the perception of the world, right?
Right.
That a trash man, oh, he doesn't do this, he might not have this or that. Where the trash man could be richer than everybody.
Exactly.
Really could. Really could. He could be the owner of the trash business, you
Right.
know. So and I say I know
Great
that you're
point,
speaking
Brandon.
genuinely. I know that you're speaking genuinely because your grandfather owned a trash business. One of his
Mm-hmm.
businesses was
Mm-hmm.
just the store, but he owned a trash business. So you actually got to see the work ethic. You got to see the business prowess. You got to see the familial and even communal impact of a black business owner in that time, who had a trash route. You've told me stories about how your grandfather would take you to school in the trash truck, and
The
people,
kids would laugh at me.
kids
Yeah.
would laugh like, oh, you
Yeah.
getting delivered in a trash truck. But to you, why, and I'll ask you even, what made you feel so secure in that to where you would just, I think that might have been the first time you dusted your shoulders off. Yeah. What made you feel so secure? And I imagine it had to be the fact that your grandfather had equity, he had pride, he had
Could be I
respect.
knew the man behind I knew the man. The man was the owner was my grandfather, and that meant my grandfather could have took me to school in a pack of poop, and I would have been okay because this is my granddaddy. My granddaddy was my granddaddy was everything. Like, you know, my dad was young, and so my grandparents, stepped in 100+%. And so my granddad was like my dad. So I wouldn't have cared if he took real seriously, y'all. He could have took me in a bag of poop, got me out the poop, took me in the classroom, and I would have been poop happy because it's my granddaddy dropping me off. I didn't see any of their granddaddies or fathers dropping them off, So
And I
I
think that's
put
that was your reply, wasn't it?
right. At least my granddaddy is dropping me off. You walking in the rain by yourself. At that time I didn't say all that, but the part about I didn't care. I didn't get caught up and never have, and I'm thankful for that in things or in what people do or how much money they have, because I think the more money we have, some of us, and so it doesn't do us any good.
Mm-hmm.
It takes away from who we are because you have to really know and love God to be rich, to have more money than you ever need, but still need God, right?
Yeah.
You have to love God in a way, and you can't just know of God. You have to know God, and you have to keep seeking the kingdom of God, right? You have to keep living to glorify the kingdom. And if money, some people can't handle a little increase, so imagine a big increase, right?
Mm-hmm.
But back to the business part, Brandon, if there's no reason that even if you sell Avon, there are tax breaks, right? There are things that you can write off, right? You can
Right.
have a business. And sometimes, I know when Brandon, raising Brandon and having to pay all these things, y'all, I've sold candles. I did candle parties. I've sold Avon. I've catered for people with, cooking to
Had a hot
keep.
wing business out of the
Yeah,
kitchen.
not right. So not just to keep it going, but to
Mm.
have some for whatever is to come, right? And like I've said here, I'll go to Popeye's Chicken and baby. I told Brandon, I told you this last night.
You told me
I
that last
will
night.
I will work at Popeyes and do it so well till people will pass Popeyes. Say, I'm going down here where Tammy work at Popeyes. I want to go to them. They got a nasty attitude. I will know you by your name when you come in. I will know what you want to order. Right? I don't have a problem with it because I know who I am. And whatever I do, whatever business I do, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with a sense of excellence and urgency,
Mm, mm.
right? Them pencils, businessman wouldn't have passed me up with the suit on. Mr. Businessman with the suit. You need a pencil? Come on, I'll give you two. Two for one. Come on with it.
There's something else I noticed too in this story specifically. When the businessman was passing by, and I think this is the greater message in the story. When the businessman was passing by, originally he originally he gave the man $1 and kept moving. Right? Gave him $1 and hopped on the train. And as a businessman, you don't want to be a charity case. And I think that's the difference. And I do want to highlight this as well.
Hmm.
I've noticed this is a big difference between the type of homelessness, I'll say, and I'm not don't get me confused or misinterpreted. I'm not putting down anyone who is in a tough situation. But let me say this. The homeless people in other countries, or the I won't say the homeless, the poor in other countries are poor in a different kind of poor than in America. Just living in America, you have a certain amount of privilege off top. I'm not saying it's equal as compared to every other person that's here. I'm not saying there are disparities based on income, um, because there most definitely are. But I will say this. When I've been, for example, in Mexico, whether it's been in Oaxaca or whether it's been in Tijuana or wherever I've been, when someone has been begging or when someone, I've actually not seen beg, I'll say that. I have not seen anyone just sitting around saying, give me money, please. I haven't seen that. They have this sense of pride, right? They have this sense of earning, their wealth, even in their poverty. I've seen children without arms making pictures, drawing with their feet, and placing rock on paper and placing little rocks on the papers so that the wind won't blow them away, and making pictures all day until as people walk by and selling the pictures, and the pictures have little rocks on them, little pieces of paper. And people, tourists, people from the West, Europe, things like that, walking by on these stones, and the stones are huge that are on the ground. The stones that are on the ground are the stones that used to be in their pyramids, but the Spanish from Spain tore down these monuments and built the cities out of them. Made those stones the streets of their cities. So it was just interesting to me that all that work, but now this child's doing that and selling his stuff, and the child will not let you give them money without giving you something in return. Likewise, when we were in Oaxaca, we were sitting at the table, and this little girl came up. We were sitting at a like an outdoor pavilion of a restaurant. Like the restaurant's in there, but they have serving tables outside. We were sitting outside, and this little girl was weaving through the tables, coming up, talking to people, having a whole conversation. I mean, this girl had to be 5, 6 years old, and I mean a whole conversation with her stuff, selling her bracelets and things that she had woven herself, her and her mother. And I don't know where the mom at, but this little girl got as much business acumen as like any salesman. She need to be out there with Renewal by Anderson. She need to be out there with y'all with these windows, because she was a good saleswoman, even as a little girl. And so I remember, I think it was Yolanda. You know Yolanda, Mom, when we were down in Oaxaca. Big Yolanda,
Yes.
big
Yes.
tall
Yes.
Yolanda. Yep.
Yeah.
make them good vegan cookies. Well, she was down there with us, and I think she tried to give the girl just some money, and the little girl was like, "No, you gotta take. Well, take this." She's like, "No, you just take." She's like, "Well, no, take two." It was almost like a competition. Like, no, you ain't doing. You're not just gonna give me money because I have respect. I have
Mhm.
pride. I'm selling something. I'm not just a beggar. I'm an entrepreneur.
Mm.
And it's that pride of self that I saw in these people that didn't allow them to become, even if they needed it, did not allow them to become charitable recipients. It
Brandon, you
was a
made me think
business
about
transaction.
something. I'm sorry, I thought you had stopped. You made me think about something. How do you treat people um, who have businesses? I thought about my cousin, the last one for me. When I went out for breakfast with him at his restaurant, and he had already, told the manager to not charge me. And I'm like, and we going back and forth. I'm like, well, if you don't charge me, I'm not going to eat it. I'm not going to come here. This is a business. This is his business. So like,
Mhm.
I'm his cousin. So what if every cousin just accepted his offer for free? What? How would he grow his business? I was like, no. I go to McDonald's and pay. I go to KFC, wherever I go, I pay. I pay. So what? And I guess there's a certain respect because I too have a business, but I notice I'm thinking about how many times I've given them away free, right? And if in people in most cases I've had one or two say, no, I'm gonna pay for it. I don't want you to give it to me, right? And there's probably a lot of them that could afford to say, hey, I'm gonna pay for it and then give someone an
Right.
assessment, right? So how do you treat people, especially your family members? Right? So how dare I go to my family member and say, I'm gonna let you feed me for free? No,
Right.
I'm gonna pay. And if you don't accept my money, I'm not gonna eat. And that's we went back and forth. So and then she charged me, and I knew it wasn't the right amount. So guess what I did? I said I'm gonna leave a big tip. So someone comes in here and need a meal, you give them one. I'm not gonna
Mm.
accept it for free out of respect for your business. It's like this businessman, he dropped some money in the can there,
Right.
and then
But what?
fed him with his words, fed
Mhm.
him.
And what gave him? What delivered the respect? Right. What the delivery of the respect? Because in the end, the man said, he after this incident, it said at a civic function a few months later, a neatly dressed salesman stepped up to the same businessman and introduced himself and said, "You probably don't remember me, and I don't know your name, but I'll never forget you. You're the man who gave me back my self respect. I was a beggar selling pencils until you came along and told me I was a businessman, that I was responsible for my future. And for that, I thank you." So the delivery of the respect, of giving that man back his respect, was in the way that he treated him, right? The way you treated your cousin's business, right? There's a difference in you passing by, dropping dollars in, and keeping on going.
Mm-hmm.
But when he passed by, dropped in some dollars, and then realized, wait a minute, I need what that man has. I need pencils. To go back and having given that dollar and to take a couple pencils, maybe he gets three pencils for $1. Maybe two pencils and hop back on. Now the transaction of respect is there. He's given
Mm-hmm.
money for something. He hasn't given money and then left with nothing. As if let me just give you something, right? Like as a business, if somebody said, I just want to donate $50 to your business, I say, well, let me give you $50 of value,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't make my business a 501c3
Mm-hmm.
because that's not what it is, right? It's not a charity. And I think in doing that, there's a level of respect that comes because it's now a meritocracy. It's now I have done of merit, or I've done a deed, and that deed has compensated me in something, as opposed to you just gave it because you felt bad for me. And then to actually say you're a businessman like me, right? He said,
Right. He didn't look down
after
on the fact
all,
that there
you're
were
a businessman.
splinters.
Right. You're a businessman just like myself. You
Yeah.
have merchandise to sell and it's fairly priced. So what did that mean?
Hmm.
He said, you're a businessman like me, even though I'm in the suit
Yes.
and you're on the side of the street, you're still a businessman. I see myself in you and I hope that you see yourself in me, that we're on the same track. And not only that, but you're a good businessman because your product is fairly priced.
Yeah.
Right? So the confidence that that gives a business owner, like, man, okay, so I am right. It's an affirmation of his business acumen to say that I have a product, the product is needed, there are people that want. I've targeted my market. I'm in the space for people that need my product. I've advertised good because I'm in a good location, and it's fairly priced, and I'm able to turn a profit. So now he's like, man, there's so much confidence that comes from that little, what would be conceived seen as a small conversation, to where it transformed him. It
Mm.
transformed him, and like I said about my great grandfather, your grandfather, businesses and ownership and having equity in your work is something that I think is integral to the human psyche,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
To human independence, to self determination, right?
Right.
Determining who you are and where you're going, and it changes not only and transforms not only that individual's life but the people around him. So now look at you, and how the business acumen of your grandfather made you made you
Hmm.
look to alternative means of of providing for yourself and your
Hmm.
family
Hmm.
outside of being just in, not just, but being an employee, because there's in some ways that that's fine and people can have that. We're not knocking people that work for corporations or
For sure.
businesses or work for someone else, but we're saying the mindset that you take to this should always be that you are a business woman or a businessman. You, everything you say is a reflection of your human capital, right? In the business that you are, your reputation, your how you dress, how you smell, everything about you. You're a walking billboard for yourself, right? For your business. And that makes you take pride in it. That makes you take more inventory of yourself. It makes you be somewhat more aware of yourself, because it directly correlates to your provision for yourself and what you're able to gain for yourself, right? And provide for yourself. So I think it transforms that, and then your hustle has passed on to me, and I can even see my daughter and my son now, counting the dollars or saying that they want to have a business, or, my son wanting to work when he sees me, pick up a drill. He's like, they have their own tool belts at 3 and 5 years old. You know, to work the day before yesterday, or 2 days before, we planted a redwood tree in the backyard, and I got videos I'm going to show you. You should have seen Tupac had a watering can in one hand, and then he's throwing dirt on the other one. So he's patting the dirt around the tree that we just planted
Mhm.
and watering at the same time. I mean, multitasking. He's patting his head and rubbing his stomach at the same time,
Yeah.
as a child. So these types of things, I think, are um these are the ripple effects of that one man having a business. And it does go back further than him, because Mame's father, right?
Hmm.
So
That is true.
my great grandfather, my mother's grandfather, his wife, my great grandmother, he worked for my grandmother's dad. So my grandfather used to work for my great grandfather on the family's dad.
Yeah.
And
The
that's how he
in-law.
met his wife.
Yeah.
That is the in-law, and that's how he met his wife when they were young, when they were kids. He worked for her father, and then later on asked for her hand in marriage. And who better to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage than a young man that trust, and has helped you build your business?
Yeah.
So that creates family ties. That business, I mean, that entrepreneurship, that platform has given so has created fertile ground for generations to grow. And so, just like it transformed this man's life just by hearing and being motivated, encouraged, and affirmed in his self determination as a businessman, it changed his life. But it also changed it ended up, I'm sure, changing the actual businessman that was walking down the street. It changed his life to see that full circle. And it changed the selling pencils his life, because now he's transformed. He's all dressed differently. He's at a civic event instead of on the street. So his placement has changed. His mindset has changed, and I'm sure that will impact his family if he has one, or his future family. So you never know what affirmations, motivations, saying the right thing, or the happenstance of you just leaving your pencils at home, and now for that reason you've changed somebody's whole life. What originally was something that you were in the perfect position for somebody else's blessing. You were on an assignment. You left your pencils before you went to your business meeting or whatever, and that wasn't a mistake. That was
Right.
on purpose. You just didn't know it was on purpose, right? So I think there's just so many things here that can be teased out.
Brandon, another thing, and then we'll bring it to a close. I find myself, and this is kind of what I was trying to form in a question yesterday, and I still don't quite have the question, but it's mainly about, we bring forward what we learned back, right? And so here I am. I'm talking to Brandon and Sella, mom and dad, parents, as Tupac would say, parents, um, about wanting to do something with Zolly, like start a little business even now with her, right?
Right.
Because why? That's embedded in me, right? That's just how you do it, right? And then here's, and I hope Stella don't mind me saying that mom is like, she got a different thing and she understands, but she's looking at it in a different way because she comes from a different world, right?
Right.
So we
Right.
bring forward, in most cases, we bring forward what we were brought up in. And that's what I mentioned yesterday. If we were brought up in lack or what we saw as poverty, sometimes we have a poverty mindset towards money that keeps it away from us. There was a day that we talked about that as well. I can't remember the exact one. How sometimes the lack of has made us subconsciously, in a way, just push money. It doesn't come to us because of the mindset we have. Where if you had a rich person who grew up rich all of their lives, that's what they know. So that's what they expect, and it comes to them. It comes to them, right? So more easily, I should say, because it doesn't mean that it doesn't come to you. And
Mm-hmm.
also, I want you guys to, for the men and the women, I'm going to change this around a little bit, because Brandon, you said something a little bit ago about the trash guy, the trash collector could be the owner of the company. So let's just say one day somebody calls out, and this owner of this trash company says, okay, well, I got to go do it. That's what owners and managers do, right? I
Right.
got to go run this route, right? Shows up to your door. You just so happen to be coming out, ladies, and the owner, right? But you don't know he's the owner. You just think he's trash can, guy picking up the trash. He tries to holler at you in a very respectful way. What would you do? What would you do? What would you think? Would you go back in the house and be like, girl, my trash guy just tried to talk to me for real? Right?
Or would you, or
Would
would, or would you, or would you say, okay,
or would you
you
say,
let's go on a
okay,
date. Just make sure you take a
yeah.
shower.
Especially if he seemed like a really good guy. He was respectful. That's why I put that word in there. And it could
Yeah,
be
yeah,
vice versa. Because ladies, as my granddaughter said yesterday to Tupac, it could be a woman driving the train. She a lady. I mean, I didn't know where it came from at that age, but she just like, it could have been a lady. Could be a lady driving the train, Tupac. So, same for you guys. You're single, can't find a good woman, you say. This woman owns her own trash. Could it, because I could have owned my own trash because my granddad did it. I could have went into that business, right? Say I did. And so one of my guys or girls don't show up that day, I got to run the route. I show up. You think I'm attractive, but you ain't going to talk to no woman who drives a truck, not knowing I own the business. Not drive the trash truck. So
Mm-hmm.
how do we look at people? Because this businessman looked at this guy, this who called himself a beggar, selling pencils, didn't know. And so what made him, what did he do to end up at a civic function just a few months later? He ended up at the same civic function as the guy who spoke life into him. So what did he do? Did he open up a pencil business? Right? And another thing, and we really will close after this. If you were an employee, then you should show up on that job as if it was your business. Because if you had a business, you would want people to do the same for you. So if you are an employee of someone, everyone that you encounter, you should treat and act as if it is your business. Why? Because it is your business. Because if you're going to go there every day, 8 to 5, 10 to 6, whatever it is, then hopefully you want to grow in that business, not just stay where you are. And if you don't treat it like your business, you will stay where you are for the most part. Because sometimes people get up because we say or do nothing. We let the wrong people climb up the right ladders, right? Because of closed mouths, right? So another topic. But when if you work for someone, as I mentioned, if I was going to do Popeyes, everybody, how you doing, Miss John Doe? You want your same? You want your 2 piece today? Why? Because if it were my business, I would want the people that I employed to do the same for me. There you go. So this man in the suit going into an office didn't see the man on the street selling pencils any different. We're both business people, right?
Right.
There you go. All right, Brandon, over to you. I think I'm done.
All right. I think I'm gonna end it there too. There's so much we can still probably take out of this and other insights that I'm sure you guys see that maybe we didn't. Feel free to put those in the comment section on the YouTube, on the Instagram, or on the Facebook Live. But we appreciate you guys on this May 20th morning. The title for today in our reading of Daily Motivations for African American Success title was Open for Business. And the quote from the distinguished African American was from William Raspberry, the syndicated columnist, who said the haves and the have-nots can often be traced to the dids and didn't do's. Right? And the affirmation that we read 3 times, one for me, one for you, and one for the person that you're going to send an invite to, or that you're going to speak life into today and bring them back tomorrow for the 111th show of the End of the Season podcast. But we read it 3. The first, everything I do prospers. I'm in the business. I'm in business to stay in business. Everything I do prospers. I'm in business to stay in business. And last time, if you said it out loud last time, say it internally this time. If you said it internally last time, say it out loud this time. Everything I do, it's at the bottom of your screen. Everything I do prospers. I'm in business to stay in business. All right. Be about your business today. Okay. Stand on business, as the kids say today. And that business is yourself. Right. You stand on the shoulders of giants. There are people that have paved the way prior to you. Look for inspiration in their stories, in the stories of your own family, in the stories of your people, and the stories of people you know and love. People that care about you. Find inspiration in their stories, because we're all more the same than we are different. But there's something unique about you. Find that niche, and go for it. And remember, you're not a businessman or woman. You're a business man. Okay.
All
All right. Love
right.
y'all so much. Y'all take care. We'll see y'all tomorrow on the
Same time.
111th installment of the End of the Season podcast. Thank y'all so
What,
much.
Brandon? 100
Hmm?
and what? 100 and what day?
111. 1 That's your number.
111. All right, let's do it. Yeah, I have to
You
tell
know I
y'all about
caught
my
that. I wasn't gonna say
111
nothing.
story. Yeah. All right, y'all be great. Open that business and be sure that it's open. Be sure that it's open. Um, all you have to do is ask Remember that from yesterday. If you guys didn't see that one, go back and listen to that one and then
Hmm.
ask for your business. Ask for your business. Pray for your business, right? Open your business. Be great. We love y'all. Peace.
Ask specifically too, right? All right,
Yes,
y'all. Peace.
specifically, specific.